Now, if you can't tell where we are by the famous scene behind me here, we are in Munich, Germany, the beating heart of Bavaria, and what some might call the beating heart of Germany itself. We're going to be here for 48 hours exploring the city, finding out what there is to do, see, and of course, eat and drink. So follow us along and you won't want to miss what we have in store for you in this video. Today we're going to eat Bavarian white sausage, or Weißwurst, which has to be done before noon. But since we have a little time, let's head to the center and see some of the best things to do in Munich. Right now I'm in the famous Marienplatz right here in the center of Munich. And we have this incredible building behind me here. It's the Neues Rathaus, or the new town hall. I'm just loving the old architecture on it and just all the figures on it. There's a dragon hidden on here. There's a ton of animals, people. I just love the style of it, and it's perhaps most famous for the Glockenspiel up here. And while we're not going to be seeing it right now, maybe it's something we'll see later, but honestly, we've seen a few other Glockenspiels go off here in Germany, and generally they're just not that impressive. It always seems a little bit underwhelming, in our opinion, here at My Travel BF. But if it's something you love, maybe recommend checking it out, and if we happen to be walking through later, it's something we'll see. One part we really liked is that you can head into the courtyard of the new town hall and see this iconic building from a different perspective. Plus, it's free, so why not go check it out? And the other part of Marienplatz that I'm loving is that there's more than just the new town hall. Over here, you actually have the Altes Rathaus, or the old town hall, and one of the original towers, now it has been reconstructed, but one of the original towers of the city of Munich. So you can see kind of just how small the original old city of Munich was, but that building, contrasting with the new town hall right here, is simply incredible. Now I know this kind of gets crazy and you're surrounded by a bunch of just chain shops and everything, but we're going to be exploring a little bit outside of the center too and finding some really cool, unique things to do here in Munich. Right now we're exploring the Viktualienmarkt here in the center of Munich. It's the largest and oldest market in Munich and dates all the way back to 1807, and this place is absolutely massive. It just sprawls out right in the middle of the city, and they have everything. There's fresh vegetables, sandwiches, sausages, fresh fruit, cheese, and so much more that I'm sure we haven't even explored yet. And now, yes, we are sitting in the beer garden right now. However, it's a little early for a beer for us. They actually have rotating beers of all of Munich's 6 famous breweries. It's only about 10 o'clock, but we might have to have one soon because, hey, why not? We're here in Munich, in the heart of Bavaria. So instead of grabbing some food at the Viktualienmarkt, we decided to stop at Café Frischhut, which is super famous for their Schmalznudeln. I have never seen these anywhere else in Germany before. I'm very excited. It looks just kind of like this fresh dough with kind of like a milk, cheese, some kind of almost dairy in the middle, topped with a bit of sugar. I'm really excited. They were $3.20 each. There was a little bit of a line for takeaway. Otherwise, you could sit inside. Ooh, but I'm excited. This is nice and warm. Crunchy, crispy, yet pillowy and soft on the inside. Second bite right away. That little bit of sugar is great. It's not too much. Definitely something to get when you're here. And it's not too expensive at only $3.20, but very good. So while churches here at My Travel BF generally aren't our biggest thing, we definitely had to pop into the Frauenkirche here in Munich. And that's because, number one, in the Old Town, it's the biggest thing around. It's the tallest building in the area. And number two, of course, it's free. Going inside, the architecture itself was a little bit of a letdown compared to other churches we visited in Germany and throughout Europe. However, one interesting thing to note is the devil's footprint. And you'll see it right when you walk in. Allegedly, when the architect, when building the cathedral here, made a deal with the devil because he was out of money. The devil gave him money in exchange for building the cathedral without any windows, so it was in total darkness. And when the cathedral was finished, the architect brought the devil in. He was happy because it was completely black. However, he had actually tricked the devil, because when the devil moved a little bit, he realized there were just columns blocking the light from the windows. The devil got really mad and stomped his foot right down there in the center of the cathedral. And that's today where allegedly you can still see the footprint. Now, if you've been following us here at My Travel BF long enough, you know that we love these fun little historical facts. And if you watched our video last year at the Lübeck Christmas market, they actually have a very similar thing where the architect of the church there made a deal with the devil to actually build a wine bar instead of a church. And you can see a similar remnant of supposedly the devil there. I'd check that video out if you haven't. Now, let's keep exploring Munich. Now, as you may or may not know, the Bavarian diet is heavy on meat, but we know all of you watching at home aren't necessarily meat eaters, and Becca is in fact vegetarian. So we are gonna head to a very local place to try the Weißwurst here, or the white sausage. And we're gonna try both the vegan kind as well as the traditional meat kind to compare and see if it's something you need to get here in Munich. Of course, before noon, that is. It's finally time for the traditional Bavarian breakfast, Weißwurst, and of course, Weissbier. Luckily, we made it just before noon because that's when it's customary to eat it. The Weißwurst is served piping hot with a pretzel and sweet mustard. I found the casing a little tricky to cut open, but once I did and was able to take a bite, it did not disappoint with its unique flavor of pork, lemon, and spices.
The vegan Weißwurst was pretty good, and it is so nice that they have a vegan option for those wanting a traditional Munich food.
I had the vegan one too, just to compare, and while not too far off, I'd go with the original if you eat meat. After eating, it's time for a walk through one of the most popular things to do in Munich. So right now we're here in the Englischer Garten in Munich, and it's absolutely incredible. This place is huge. I'm gonna say this is a place you have to come when you're in Munich. It's one of the largest, if not the largest, urban park in the world. And I absolutely love these rivers going through it. They're flowing quickly. And if you go back just a little bit here, right on the edge of the city, something almost everybody sees here in Munich is the Eisbach Welle, which is a natural surfing wave. And you'll actually see surfers here supposedly all times of the year. It's chilly here on this fall morning, and there are people out surfing in their wetsuits. It's pretty incredible to see because it does not look easy. Apparently, if you want to try it, there's another wave somewhere in the park here that you're supposed to start on and train, and you have to be pretty good and pretty experienced to be surfing on the one over there. And apparently, you can actually swim in them in some places too. So that's something we aren't going to do because it's definitely too cold, but you might want to do when you're here in Munich. Another one of the most famous parts of the Englischer Garten is the Chinese Tower Beer Garden. And we were actually there, but decided to just put our camera away and enjoy our time with our friends. The vibes there were absolutely incredible. You just kind of walked in, picked out whatever food you want, whatever beer you wanted, and paid on the way out. And then the beer garden was massive. Supposedly, it's the biggest one in Munich and perhaps even the biggest beer garden in the world. It's something you absolutely have to do when you come to Munich, especially if it's a nice day. Now, we're only scratching the surface because we're only here for 2 days, so there's no way we're gonna be able to see a lot of the city, eat a lot of the food, and see the entire park. Where if you spent more time here, I'm sure there's much more of the park to visit, and if there are things we're missing out on, make sure to let us know in the comments.
The real reason that we are actually here in Munich, besides the fact that we've never been here before and we've been meaning to come here ever since we moved to Germany, is because I actually ran the half marathon here on Sunday, which if you haven't run one before, it's definitely a good course, and I would suggest it if you want to try one out. But one of my friends has suggested, oh, after your race, you should definitely get some Kaiserschmarrn. And I have been craving it since then. And I hope it tastes exactly like it did in Oberammergau because that was so delicious. So we're on our way to find a place right now. We ended up at Leib und Seele, a cute place that also has some good vegetarian options. But the Kaiserschmarrn stole the show. The tastiest part for me were those crispier caramelized bits that were covered with almonds. Although it wasn't quite as good as the one in Oberammergau, it still hit the spot and we almost finished the whole thing.
Now, a trip to Munich would absolutely not be complete without a trip to the most famous beer pub in the world, and that's the Hofbräuhaus here in Munich. It was built in 1589, and we're gonna head there, have at least one beer, perhaps some food, and see whether it's worth visiting or if it's just some place that's completely over-visited here in Munich. This place was packed. But we finally got a seat and enjoyed some Bavarian Obatsta and of course, a 1-liter Mass of Helles. But what did we think of it? Now the Hofbräuhaus behind me here is definitely heavily visited and probably borderline on over-touristed because almost everybody goes here when they come to visit Munich, and that's because it's the most famous beer hall probably in the entire world, but definitely here in Munich. The interiors are fantastic. The painted ceiling right when you walk in is simply iconic. Plus they have the polka music going, and it's just a traditional beer hall where you just get to slide in right on a table and join other people drinking a beer, eating great food, and having a great time. Now occasionally here at My Travel BF, we're gonna do these things that are super touristy just to find out if they're actually worth it or if they are just duds. And we are gonna say that this one is absolutely worth it when you come visit Munich, just because of the iconic history here, being the oldest beer hall in Munich. And it's just simply stunning from the art to the architecture to the overall vibes inside. So while it is heavily visited, I'm still going to highly recommend that you come here and don't miss this when you're in Munich, even though there are definitely a bunch of other amazing places here in the city. So this morning we're heading away from the city center a little bit here in Munich, actually right over by the Oktoberfest grounds. Now they are closed because we're just a few weeks late for that, but we're heading to the German Transport Museum. We're super interested in seeing some trains, as well as cars and the other types of transport used in Germany from the 19th century to present. But also our son is super interested in basically anything big like that that moves. So we really hope he loves it, and we're gonna find out if this is a child-friendly activity or not when you're here in Munich. I'm just going to say that this museum is so cool. Not only is our son loving it, being able to sit in trains, cars, trucks, everything, but I'm loving just going around and seeing these old methods of transportation and really just being able to actually explore them and look inside and see what they're like. Because if you've been following us for a while now, you know we love traveling by public transit here in Germany, and being able to go on these old trains is so cool. For €8 for an adult, I'm going to say that this is a must visit when you're in Munich. Of course, if you're into this stuff. If you're not, there's plenty of other things to do here. So another reason we decided to come visit Munich other than Becca's half marathon is to visit two wonderful friends of ours, and that's Ben and Camille of the YouTube channel Near From Home. They have amazing videos of Munich and surrounding day trips here in Bavaria. We love their videos and loved their videos before we had actually even met them in person. They're simply incredible, and they do such a great job showing off some wonderful areas that most people miss out on when they travel. So make sure you go like and subscribe Near From Home. Of course, subscribe to My Travel BF too, but we highly recommend you give them a follow because they've given us a lot of these wonderful tips to see and do here in Munich. Now we were starving and headed to an Augustiner restaurant right across from the museum to try to get a beer that we've been searching for seemingly forever. Now with so many beers here to try in Munich, this one is the one I was most excited to try, and it's actually an alcohol-free beer. It's Augustiner's Alcoholfrei. They came out with this about a year ago, but I have not been able to find it anywhere. It's my favorite beer, the non-alcohol-free version. I've just been looking forward to it because I heard one of the only places you can actually find it is in any of their beer houses here. I'm so excited we found this. I can't wait to try it. Prost. Oh my God. That is definitely the best alcohol-free beer I've ever had. This tastes so close to the original. I'm going to say if you're in Munich, definitely a must-get if you don't drink alcohol, because this tastes just like a regular beer. And if you can find it anywhere else, please let us know, because I would love to get some of this. Obviously, our drinking habits have changed over time from a few years ago when we were drinking a lot out at tapas bars in Spain. You can check out a whole playlist here, to now definitely having a little bit less alcohol or even some alcohol-free beers. But man, this one is delicious. And of course, to eat, you can never go wrong with some Flammkuchen and Käsespätzle. While this isn't a full Munich food tour, although it almost could be, we're headed back to the Viktualienmarkt to try a Bavarian delicacy. So here at the Viktualienmarkt, the one thing we were told we have to try is the Leberkäse Semmel, which Semmel is a new word for me because in the north we said Brötchen. But basically a sandwich with Leberkäse, which basically just looks like a meatloaf. They kind of cut it off of a loaf of meat. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm excited to try it because it has that sweet mustard. Drop a little bit. That's pretty good. It's actually a lot better than it looks. It's nice, sweet, definitely a pork or something, but good. I'm actually quite surprised here. I really like it. And for only about €4, I'm gonna say definitely something to try when you're here in Munich and in Bavaria, because it's not something you can get everywhere in Germany, or at least it's not very popular everywhere. So I was just walking around and had to pop into a place that had Augustiner on tap because, like I said, this is my absolute favorite beer that I've had here in Germany so far. You just do not find it on tap any places in the north, so I had to stop in and get it somewhere here. Oh, can't wait to have it. Prost. Crisp, smooth, delicious. Just hits everything perfectly. I love that I can get this almost everywhere in Munich, and I recommend that you do too when you come visit. So right now I'm really excited because we're actually headed outside of the center of Munich to try a classic German food that I actually have not tried during my 3 years here in Germany. And you are not going to want to miss it. I'm so excited to try this, and I really can't believe I haven't had it yet. So join us as we head out to this super local spot to try it. If you guessed Schnitzel, you were right. And Dry Mühlen is a top recommendation for Schnitzel in Munich, although it's a bit far from the center.
Now, it might sound weird, but I got the celery schnitzel, which was surprisingly delicious and a great option for those vegetarians wanting to try traditional German food. But really, it was the sauce that put it over the top for me.
On the other hand, I got their famous Schnitzel trilogy, which consisted of 3 different types of schnitzel, each with its own unique style. And I'm gonna say that I cannot imagine a better way to try schnitzel for the first time. However, my favorite of the 3 was the pork schnitzel breaded with pretzel pieces and a sweet mustard horseradish marinade. So I just have to say that Schnitzel trilogy was absolutely amazing, and this is a super local place. If you're willing to come out of the center of Munich just a little bit, we highly recommend it. Usually we end our videos here at My Travel BF with saying, is it worth it? But I think it's pretty obvious from this video that Munich is absolutely worth adding to your Germany travel itinerary. Make sure to check out our other videos popping up on the screen here, and we'll see you over at those other videos. Bye.